A food processor called me a few weeks back. Aseptic bag and box, doing about 80 truckloads a year. His lead times had stretched from weeks to months. His technical rep had basically gone quiet. And about 10 minutes into the call, he said the thing I hear all the time. He said, "I think we're stuck." He was not stuck. He just thought he was, and the entire market is built to keep him thinking that way. So today I'm going to walk you through exactly what I told him. If you buy Aseptic bag and box and you feel trapped between your two options, stay with me. This one is for you. Let's start with the obvious. For Aseptic bag and box in North America, the demand runs through two names, Shirley IPN and Liquibox. Sometimes Iran, but they're overseas, which again, and Liquibox is part of Sealed Air. Together, they cover most of the market. And look, these are capable companies. They built real aseptic capability over decades. I'm not here to throw rocks at either of them. The problem is not that they exist. The problem is what the market only with two real options does to an account that is too small to fight for and too scared to leave. When you run 50 or 100 or 120 truckloads a year instead of thousands, you're rounding error inside of a very large supplier, and you get rounding error treatment. That treatment shows up in four ways, and you probably recognize every single one of them. First is lead time. Orders that used to ship in weeks now quote out months, and you have no leverage to compress them. Second is service. The technical support that mattered so much during qualification quietly disappears once that contract is signed. The rep who walked you through the startup is now covering a territory 3 times the size. Third is priority. When capacity tightens, the big accounts get served first, and you learn exactly where you sit in the queue. And fourth, the big one is fear, because this is shelf-stable food inside a sterile barrier. A failure is not a scuffed carton. It's swelling, seal leaks, oxygen ingress, and a recall conversation. So you are correctly afraid of change, and your supplier knows you're afraid. The fear is worth more to them than any clause in your contract. A scared account is a captive account. So what do most buyers do? Nothing for a very, very long time. They absorb the pain until it is unbearable. And then they panic and switch so fast to chase a lower price. And that is the single most expensive mistake in the whole category. Price is the easiest thing for a desperate supplier to promise, and it's the first thing to vanish when capacity gets tight. Switch in a panic and you trade a known problem for an unknown one on a product where unknown problems end up as swollen palate and a very, very bad month. Do not do that. Here's the move that actually works. You do not switch your aseptic supplier, not in one move. Instead, you qualify a second source deliberately while your incumbent stays exactly where it is. Read that again. You are not replacing your supplier. You're ending your dependence on a single one. Those are two very different things, and the difference is everything. Let me give you the path. 5 steps. Each one protects you before you take the next step. Step number 1, real bags built to your actual specification, not a generic sample off a shelf. The film structure, the barrier layer, the fitment, the size, all match to your product and your line. And here is a quiet tell. A supplier who cannot and will not produce a real spec match sample, he has just told you everything you need to know about them. That's when you move on. Step number 2, those sample bags get tested against the failure modes that matter to your product. Oxygen transmission, seal integrity, drop in transit, compatibility with your product chemistry, whether it's acidic, dairy, or a particulate. This is the step where a film problem gets caught on a lab bench instead of a swollen bag in your customer's warehouse 3 months later. Step number 3, the bag has to run on your equipment you already own. The fitment and the connector have to mate cleanly with your filler. You have to prove it. on your line at your speed with your people before a single unit of saleable product is ever committed. No assumptions, you run it. Step number 4, and this is the one that takes the fear out, the parallel run. The new supplier makes a small, controlled slice of real production right alongside your incumbent. Both go through the same shelf life and quality checks. Now you're comparing your alternative against your current supplier on identical terms with real product at zero risk to your main supplier. You're not betting the company, you are running a controlled experiment. And step number 5, only after that parallel run proves out do you start moving volume. And you move it in stages, never all at once. Your incumbent stays in place as the safety net until your new supplier has earned the transfer through documented performance. Run that whole path and the question stops being, should I risk a switch? It becomes, I have a validated second backup source and I am choosing how much volume it earns. That is a completely different person making that decision. Now here's the part that surprises almost everyone. The moment your incumbent finds out you have a qualified alternative, your lead times and your service tend to improve on their own. Go figure. You do not even have to leave and stop being so captive. Sometimes the best outcome of qualifying a second source is that you never have to use it and you finally get treated like an account that could walk out the door, which gives you the cleanest test there is for who you are actually dealing with. Tell your supplier you're qualifying a second source and watch their reaction. A supplier that treats you as disloyalty is counting on you being stuck. A real partner treats it as the goal because a buyer who is free keeps everyone honest, including the partner. Now, let me be real honest with you because this is not a sales pitch. Switching is not always the right move. If your lead times are reasonable, your rep answers the phone, and your last 3 years have been clean, you don't have a supplier problem, and you should probably not go and invent one. Stability in aseptic packaging is worth real money. And if you just had one failure, find out whether it was a film problem or a film problem before you blame the bag, because some failures will follow you right to the next supplier. So be prepared. But if you're genuinely captive, punishing lead times, service gone, no leverage because you have no alternative, then qualifying a second source is not a risky move. It's the lowest risk thing you can do because the parallel run protects you either way. So here's the bottom line. You don't need to be or have the biggest supplier. You need one that will answer the phone in 18 months when your line is down at 2 in the morning and your product is sitting in a filler. It was never about price. It was about whether anyone is on the other side of the line. I put the full written breakdown, plus a free self-scoring readiness checklist you can fill out before you ever talk to a supplier, in the link in the description. Go grab it, and if any of this hits a nerve, drop a comment because we read them. I'm David Marinac. Thank you again for watching. As always, this is part of several different pieces regarding aseptic packaging. Check for a playlist. Always, if you can, if you find somebody if you think somebody could benefit from this, please share it with them. Thanks.